It's your turn, pretty sure.
Oh, okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Tea Broken Thumbs. I'm James, and that's Cole.
I am Cole. That's me.
Yeah, yeah.
I am the I am the co-host. Somebody even called me the second pilot of this ship we run here.
Not the co-pilot, but the second pilot.
Yeah, the second pilot.
Okay.
It's like a co-pilot, but like instead of talking about or telling you how to drive the ship, I'm yelling in your ear constantly about you need to die so I can take your position.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh. So you're like my
Yeah.
Kamala.
Yes. that is, yes, that's who I am. Yes,
Oh,
you
okay.
got it right on the nail.
All right, amazing.
Um, agreed. And speaking of amazing, we are here to talk to you folks about something truly amazing.
We shouldn't lead them astray. We talk about good things every once in a while.
I'm not lying.
All right.
Are you about to lie?
I you know what? Uh, Everyone's welcome to interpret what we say on their own and come to their own conclusions about it. And I'm here to
True.
I support that.
However,
So no, there is no however. We'll talk about the movie and everyone can decide how they feel about it.
that's a very good point. We should start by talking about who made this masterpiece.
It was
Uh,
caused.
yeah, sorry. You're right. Let me try the thing you wanted me to try.
All right.
The movie we watched was called Moonfall. It came out, I want to say, last month, and I've been very excited to watch it. It was caused by Roland Emmerich,
Emmerich.
who Emmerich.
Emmerich, I think. Oh, maybe
He,
you're right.
he
Actually,
he's
Emmerich.
made yeah he's made a lot of similar movies. He made The Day After Tomorrow, Independence Day, and Godzilla.
Oh, so he
1998, the old one.
right. So he is one
Yeah.
with the He's a fan of the apocalypse and even space, you might say.
I think it's a situation where he's very good at doing one thing. I'm not going
What
to
would you say that is?
specify,
Okay.
but I'm going to I think you guys can pick up by the end of it what he's really good at doing. I mean, like, I think Independence Day is a great movie. I like, obviously, it's not like anything that would like peak cinema or anything, but it's a fun, dumb movie. Would you agree upon that?
Um, it's been a long time since I've watched it. Um, I just remember thinking it was like I remember having a hard time because it's like a really long movie, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a lot of build up for the end fight scene with the aliens.
right.
But Will Smith is in it, so that must make it a good movie.
Oh, oh no.
I can't think of anything that Will Smith would do to make him lose people's attention.
I don't can't think of anything that Will Smith would do to I guess earn a disfavorable view by the public.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Nothing about him talking about how he used to show his grandma him having sex with his wife. None of that. No, nothing.
Oh, that's
No, Will Smith is a good boy.
that's a new one.
Have you not heard about that one?
No.
Yeah, Will Smith showed his grandma him having sex. There's a very weird article.
Huh. Well, we
And
hear
just
it. We
like
hear it too. Broken thumbs. Don't we're not fans of that.
no,
Mm.
but I will say, just like that grandma, while we were watching Moonfall, we felt very confused, didn't know what was happening, and there was a lot of CGI for some reason.
Yeah.
That was good. I like that. That was good. I like that one for me.
Yeah, I liked it too. Oh boy.
Where do we start?
Well, I guess some initial thoughts should we go through?
Well, we should talk about like what the movie's plot is. I assume people would probably care about that because we've only said the name was called Moonfall.
Right. Okay.
I don't think people would understand with that title what the movie's about. You know.
This according to IMDb, this movie is not making money.
Really? Why not? How much did it make?
Estimated 150 million was budgeted. Opening weekend in US and Canada was a little less than 10 million. Gross worldwide right around 42
Ooh.
million.
Oh, that's not good at
That's a
all.
rough lot. That's like
That's nearly $100 million loss.
yeah, that's right up there with
Jesus.
those that Mortal Engines movie. That's
Yeah,
bad.
I was talking about that yesterday. Actually, it was I called it Europe on Wheels because I couldn't remember the name of the actual movie.
I'm glad you called it that.
Because that's basically what it was. It
That
was Europe on
that
Wheels.
makes me happy.
um, yeah, this movie didn't do too great because like it kind of came out of nowhere. Honestly, like I didn't hear anything about it until it came out, and then everyone started talking about it. It was a very like out of nowhere movie.
Yeah. Uh, Same thing. I saw a couple of trailers for it, and I only like it only stuck with me because I recognize Casey as the guy who is in Game of Thrones, played as Sam.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's about it. Besides that, it very very blockbustery movie. I guess I'd feel
not
comfortable
even
saying.
not even just blockbuster. It's like okay, so to give you an idea of what the movie's about, because it's hard to talk about what type of movie it is without talking about the plot. Which this should be. It's pretty short when we get down to it. Uh, the moon, specifically, uh, a crazy conspiracy theorist finds out that the moon is going to fall out of orbit. Um, and he goes to tell everybody, and then NASA comes out and is just like, "Yeah, that's what happened. That's what's currently happening. Uh, Everyone, run for your lives." Um, and they have to put the moon back in orbit. And as the movie goes on, you realize more and more information about the moon and how it's not just a moon. It's more than a moon. There's something inside the moon.
Yes.
That's that's literally it. Like I don't want to do spoiler talk, but it like it's also like why would I why would I
Well,
why would anyone
we can we can I think it's general enough to I think it's easy enough
yeah.
to say the plot is the moon has fallen out of its orbit and it is approaching Earth very quickly.
Well, it's not even. It's falling out of its orbit, but it's still orbiting the Earth, just in a very weird way that isn't normal.
Well, that's yeah. Well, orbit is like in terms of it's like gonna stay the same distance because the
Yeah,
like its velocity like pushing outwards is equaling out with the gravity pulling it inwards, and that's why it stays in the same spot, relatively speaking at least. But if something were to happen to cause the moon to like approach Earth more, like for that force, because you picture like you you and I are both pushing on a door and like we're pushing with equal force so it stays right where it is. All of a sudden, if one starts pushing harder than the other, then it's gonna start moving, right?
right.
Yeah. So the moon has fallen out of its orbit and it is approaching Earth very quickly. I think the time frame we're given is like within 3 weeks it'll uh apocalypse us. So
Yeah, so that's enough time for them to have like to get a crew ready, like to get like a spaceship to prepare for everything, and to make sure people get evacuated in time. Except like almost immediately after they say 3 weeks, the moon changes course, and it's now 3 days.
yes.
Like there's no reason to say, "Oh yeah, we'll be fine," and then all of a sudden, "Oh, we're no longer fine."
Yeah.
It felt like the writers were like, "Oh, we need to actually move the plot along
We
faster
need
than
to
we
speed
thought."
things up a little bit.
Yeah, Well, you are missing though the beginning of the movie focuses on Casey, who's played by John Bradley. Bradley. I'm not doing good with last names today. Um, John Bradley is a he's a conspiracy nut who works at a fast food restaurant who calls himself a doctor, but is just constantly breaking into a high school or a college and using a teacher's like website to get info about the moon,
Yeah,
which to
uh,
it's very weird.
yeah, interesting. I get
Mm-hmm.
his big conspiracy theory is that the moon is hollow and it houses a
Mm-hmm.
Dyson sphere. So there's that, and I guess it's
And
like I guess it gets
he has nothing to go off of this, right?
what's up?
He has nothing to go off of this on, right?
I guess we have to nothing that we're shown as far as I remember. I guess we have to assume that he like has really shaky like conspiracy level evidence, and
Yeah, probably.
he just happens to be right in this case.
Well, it's very very
It,
strange.
it it is weird that he's totally portrayed as like the conspiracy redditor. Like, he's a big guy, he's got the neckbeard going for him. He like lives in his like dirty, crappy apartment, and
Yeah,
he says what would Elon do when looking at his SpaceX poster. Like, it very much
it's
it paints the picture of exactly which character you're picturing in your head. But
yeah
he's right, I
works
guess.
a dead end job, but is also able to know how the moon gravity works.
He's
It's very strange.
he's got his
There's also
he's got his website, and he like
mm,
is like summoning all his people to have a conversation, and it's all these like
summoning
stoners and like old conspiracy
old
theorists,
people.
and yeah.
Doesn't one of them says like Wilson did it?
Yeah,
Is that no Oswald was it? It was
Oswald did it.
Oswald
Yeah.
because yeah that's a reference to something, isn't it?
I don't know.
Yeah, Lee Harvey Oswald was probably what it was a reference to.
Hmm. Uh,
The guy who supposedly killed JFK.
right.
Yeah.
Supposedly.
What do you mean? What is that? What I said?
Yeah.
We can never be too sure.
Well, okay. This is your
Listen,
this is your brain on Moonfall, everyone.
I was about to say this movie's all about conspiracy theorists. Okay,
We're not sure
listen.
what's true and what's not.
Yeah, I was about to say yeah. That's the one thing. So we talked in No Way Home about like them turning James Jonah Jameson into like a Alex Jones and like making him the good person. They did that again with this movie, which feels really like it feels like this is a pattern now. Like all of a sudden, every redditor is correct on every conspiracy theorist every conspiracy theory they've ever heard, and like if you believe something hard enough, it must be true. It's very strange.
Yeah,
It's a very
I
weird take.
I don't they I always feel like there's a conversation surrounding like the idea of like what kind of ideas Hollywood's willing to put out there, and like people on the right especially are always talking about like, oh, it's the message that is like gotten into all of our movies now, and all the agendas and whatnot. It's just really weird
Mm.
to me that like this trend keeps coming up, because I'm not sure who's vouching for it, but I guess it is like, I don't think it's bad or anything. It sticks out to me now since it's like such a hot topic for conversation. But
Right. Like
like
it's always like a situation of like, oh well, this movie's trying to push this sort of agenda onto young people or yada yada yada. But then this film is literally like, yes, every conspiracy theory you've ever heard in your life is actually true, and the moon is hollow. It's like, okay, hang on a second.
all right,
Those
hang
say.
on. I guess it kind of
I get.
saves itself by blatantly going against what's known science. Well, no, that's
That's
never
well.
mind. That was
I was
silly.
about to say we can get to that if we want to, because like The plot really isn't important. It's a lot of just meandering to get to the part where they blow up the moon. Um, like,
um,
am I wrong? Am I really
there's
wrong?
no it. So this movie, like many others, really appreciates its spectacle. I think we said 150 million. This is a very good-looking movie, and
Mm,
it okay. There's some funky CGI.
thank you.
There's quite a bit, but what isn't funky looks very good in terms of like moon
Mhm.
breaking apart. And I suppose we should talk about this. Have you seen the Kurzgesagt video on what would happen if the moon like got closer to Earth?
No, but I have seen. Do you know who? I'm trying to remember the YouTuber's name. Oh, his name. He does the How It's Actually Made series. I'm finding out right now. Hugbeast. Do you know who Hugbeast is?
I recognize the name.
He's a he's a friend of Charlie's. He's on the official podcast.
Oh, okay,
Um,
yeah.
yeah. So he made a whole video about the guy who talks about blowing up the moon and what would happen,
Hmm.
and he like went through all the things that would happen if we were to blow it up. One of the things he was pointing out is like we couldn't do it because the moon is too thick. We would dent it. But this movie solves that problem by saying that the moon is hollow,
Yeah.
so they can blow up the moon.
Yeah.
Was that what you were gonna say about the guy you were talking about?
Oh, I was gonna say, like it it gets at the beginning I feel like it gets more stuff right. So
Mm-hmm.
as it approaches, um it's gonna be a slow thing, right? And like the first thing that's gonna happen is like the tides are gonna get affected a little bit, but not much, and like the moon isn't going to appear much closer at all. So essentially, like how the tides work is the water in the ocean's getting pulled closer to the moon, and so like that's why like tide changes every I don't remember if it's 6 or 12 hours, but essentially, low tide would be like recede way out into the ocean, and then high tide would be much higher waves, and that would happen for like the first half of the moon's journey in, and then like things speed up a lot after that point, and that's when you start getting everything getting absolutely flooded, civilization getting wrecked, and then a little bit later, satellites start getting all mucked up, and then like you know it just like keeps cascading after that, and then the moon itself doesn't ever get too close because it gets torn apart by its own weight versus like the gravity being pulled on it, and that's when it splits apart a ton, and not like we see in the movie where it like breaks in a few spots and there's a bunch of meteors and whatnot, but it like shatters almost and would create almost like a ring around Earth. Plenty of it would hit Earth still, but it
But not enough to cause like the damage that is here.
uh well probably, but like the moon stays intact the whole time, right? In the movie, for the most part.
Yeah,
It wouldn't be like that. It would like shatter into a million pieces and then it would leave a ring around Earth. That would obviously like it'd be big chunks in the middle with like smaller bits going out and around, but then as time goes on it would start evening out.
yeah.
Hmm.
But I think so. We should clarify here that um, the conspiracy theorist is saying that the moon is hollow and that it has like a fake outer layer. So the outer layer is falling off throughout the film.
Right, because that's like the
Yeah.
actual moon rock, the mantle and whatnot.
Oh, you're watching the video right now. I just noticed.
Ah, yes. Scrolling through
Yeah.
it, making sure I'm not losing my
So
mind.
you're doing great so far. Yeah. So the whole thing about the moon coming towards the Earth is it's just it's stupid.
Yeah.
It's a stupid premise for a very silly movie.
A pretty silly premise, but you know what? We'll run with it. You know,
Yeah,
I'm a fan of plenty of silly movies. I enjoyed Marvel. I enjoy Star Wars. So you know, we'll run with it for now.
I
Um,
think. Well, hold on. I'm trying to remember where we at in the timeline because I think at this point, I'm trying to remember from Casey's point of view. So I feel like that's the best way to go from everything. There's other characters doing other things, but to be honest, they're not important at all. They're just like, oh, I have family members, and now we go, oh, we care about this character now because they have family.
yeah, I'd say
Like,
there's totally a B plot with
yeah,
like the families trying to like get to safety on Earth. It's pretty not
right,
important. Like
yeah,
there's a character who dies, and I was not sad, and Cole was quite happy when that happened, and the characters like mention that he's dead, and they're like, "I'm sorry," and then they move on.
yeah,
So it
yeah.
the B plot's well aware of how unimportant it is. I guess we should.
Well, the other thing too is, and I don't know if you noticed this where we're watching, but every main character except the conspiracy redditor has a partner and a kid. Like it's really convenient how they don't need to actually write any characters. They're just like, oh, they have a wife and a kid, and they both have ex. Like the B plot,
They
both characters have ex like family members.
they do have like ex
That's
marriage partners.
yeah. I noticed that, and I was like, "That's really convenient. That's real convenient. You don't have to actually write anything for these characters. You just have to go, oh yeah, they're no longer married, and at the end of the movie, they're going to happily be married again."
Yeah, and there's definitely
Which
this.
that's not even a spoiler. You'll pick that up once you start watching these types of like
Oh, it's very
end of the world
predictable.
movies. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a predictable format.
So I guess it's probably worth mentioning right off the bat. Our first scene is our main character. I'm really good at names, as we know. Patrick Wilson, who plays as Brian Harper.
Brian
I'll try to
Harper. Yep.
remember to call him Harper. Him and Joe, played by Halle Berry, are in space with their friend, the third guy. I think his name was Mason, and they're doing some what seems to be like routine satellite repairs. Yeah, just Joe's in the ship. The other two are out doing their thing, and something weird happens. Big spooky black shadow creature comes out. It's like how'd you describe it? Because it is nanotech. They say later, so it's big like a cloud.
I, we described it as it being an eldritch horror
Yeah,
from Dark Souls 4.
some yeah.
I want to specify, by the way, this actor, Patrick Wilson, he's not. I thought he was like a no one actor, but I'm looking at his IMDb. Um, he was. Okay, so here's the thing. He was in all the Conjurings so far, apparently. He was in Conjuring 2, Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It, yada, yada, yada. But here's the one I want to point out to you that's interesting. So he was in Aquaman as King Orm, okay?
Oh yeah, he was King Orn.
So he's established in this universe of the DCEU, right? It
Yeah,
would be really weird if he was in another movie of the DCEU as another character, right?
yeah, that would be weird.
So he's in Batman v Superman: Dawn of Justice as the POTUS.
POTOS.
He's president of the United States.
What?
Oh no, he's a voice in the POTUS. What the fuck is POTUS?
Yeah,
Isn't
no,
that
that's
president
President of the
of the United
United States. Is he? I'm sorry,
States? He's
friends.
apparently the
Moonfall will have
he's
to wait.
he is apparently a voice. He's just a voice. There's just a voice clip of him.
Oh yeah, he's the guy who was in Insidious.
Yeah,
All right. So yeah, he's in Aquaman.
he was also in Watchmen, but I think that's a different continuity, right?
Yeah, he was the voice of the president.
Yeah.
That's that's funny. Do you,
That's really
do you
funny.
think there's do you do you think the Snyderverse people think that there's something there?
I hope so. I hope
The
he's a
king
secret
of
character.
land and sea.
Yeah, that's my conspiracy theory.
That I
The
like it.
president, the president is also the king of Atlantis.
Oh my goodness.
That would be a fun theory. I would like to see. Write your theory of how that would work in the comments below. I'd love to see that.
hmm I like it.
But yeah, so are you talking about him being up in space and he gets his friends killed, right?
I wouldn't say it that way, but yeah, the big ol' spooky monster cloud comes in and like smashes into their shuttle and the satellite. The crap's flying everywhere. So our boy Harper goes into the shuttle, gets out of his suit really quickly, and
Like ridiculously, like frame perfect getting out of his suit.
yeah, just like changes in the airlock, and then once he's inside, he stops the shuttle because it's spinning from getting hit. Makes sure Halle Berry's still alive, and then he can't find his friend. He's apparently died out in space. And meanwhile, big scary monster thing goes into the moon and starts drilling into it. And then he's like, "Okay, I'm not letting my friend die." So lands the shuttle himself. And yeah, and then there's like news
He,
reports of
the other thing you missed that's important to
oh
this
yeah,
is the fact that it's offline. The ship has no electronics.
oh they all get knocked out
He,
after he
yeah,
yeah
so he's driving this without any help of or guidance because the uh, Josie passed out apparently. Like she just got knocked out. There was no clear reason of what happened. She just kind of fell over.
yeah. I guess we ought to assume that she hit her head on something, but
Yeah,
I don't think
it's not really. It was
we get a great view.
very much a suggest don't show sort of rule.
Yeah.
My
Um,
favorite rule film.
yeah. So I'm glad you mentioned that, yeah, because after the monster runs into the ship, it knocks out all the power and everything. All right.
Uh, and then it leaves them be for some reason, and they just fly back to Earth.
Yep. Land on
And
Earth.
immediately,
The,
mm,
I was just gonna say, they got like there's footage being played on TV of the two of them getting questioned by supposedly superiors at NASA, and they're like, it could have been a solar flare, right? Like that would do the same thing, and they're like, well, I guess so, but that's not what he saw, and it's yeah, swept under the rug essentially.
yeah, it's made very clear that it's made very clear that they don't want what Patrick Wilson is saying to be exposed to everybody. Because so they have camera footage of like his helmet that they show later on, so
hmm
they know what actually happened. But it's literally just a giant cover up story.
Yep.
And then after all that happens, like his son and his wife leave him. 10 years pass, and this is when we catch up with John with Casey Houseman with his whole plot. And at one point, Patrick is supposed to go to an event to talk to a bunch of kids about like being an astronaut. And instead, Casey gets there and starts spewing to these kids with a bunch of papers he have that the moon is not real.
Yeah.
So he,
Moonfall.
it sounds like a very funny scene, but all the kids act like not kids, so it feels very disingenuous. Like it feels like it's supposed to be a haha funny, but it's just not. I didn't laugh. Did you laugh?
Nah, I was
Yeah,
well, I think I was still confused because
confused.
I'm trying to figure out
Yeah,
what he actually is. But
yeah. Because at this point we saw him in a high school and then working a job at a restaurant, and now he's saying that he's a possible um that he is a possible. Sorry, brains farting out completely. Astronaut.
Right.
Yeah.
I guess I just didn't catch on that he was meant to be the astronaut, or that whoever was there mistaked him for the astronaut because they don't look the same. And I don't know, doesn't look too much like an astronaut to me.
Yeah.
But
I mean, he even made a joke later, but like, oh, astronauts can't be fat.
right,
Yeah.
yeah,
But yeah, so this gets announced. The original astronaut gets there, and he's like, "Hey, go fuck yourself. Get the fuck out of here. Shut the fuck up."
right. Stop
Uh,
talking to me about your crazy conspiracies.
yeah. And then he goes to see his mom. Casey does, and he's like, "Mom, they don't believe me." And so she has Alzheimer's because she has to have something. Um,
Gotta
and
endear us to this character.
Yeah, because we gotta have something that makes us care about this character. Yeah, and she's like, "Well, make him listen." So apparently, he just by doing so is to message every single human being on the planet with a phone that the moon is coming towards the Earth, and this is the same time that NASA finds out about it, and NASA's like, "Okay, we just won't tell anybody for a little bit, so we can have everything prepared," and then they're like, well, that's gonna be a little hard. And then the post comes out, and I think like 5 seconds after everyone gets that message, one of the lines of the guys is like, "Oh, it's trending on Twitter for the last 2 minutes." I'm like, what the fuck do you mean? It just got posted. What are you on about?
Yeah, it's really a pretty funny scene because they're like, we're gonna keep this
Yeah.
under wraps until we learn more, and then everybody's phone starts buzzing because there's a news alert, and it's like anonymous source says the moon's getting closer. And I don't know, there's like I want to say a montage, which I don't think there actually is, but like people are asking, oh, how do you, can we verify the source, anything, and just nobody has any idea.
No, you're right. There's like a montage of people like destroying shit
Oh,
and causing
yeah,
pandemonium.
then it fast forwards to uh,
Yeah.
yeah, everyone's like leaving cities, rioting, looting.
And I had made a joke saying that this is not what would happen in the situation because I don't see the point of looting when the moon is coming at the Earth. Like, what are you grabbing stuff for? You're going to die. There's nothing you can do. It's
And
over.
just well,
Just
surely if like
I guess
if some
I guess
people
this is
are
a
gonna
situation
live,
where it's like I think this is in this type of situation it would be like where do you stand on hope? Like, do you think do you have a chance of living? And I guess I'm just the type of person who'd just be like, no, I don't. I'm good.
I guess I'd probably want to
If
be
I'm,
prepared, just in case, like do my best. Which
I think what,
I live in Southern Florida, so I don't know what chance I'd have with this, but like
oh, you'd be fine.
I
The
would need a
Florida people
boat.
would be out. Florida people will be out there shooting the moon trying to help.
Yeah, boy, we can knock it
I,
back.
yeah, I just imagining a bunch of old people with shotguns just shooting at the moon.
Like throwing our
They're like,
gators
take
at it.
that, foreigner!
But
Where's your passport?
not in my state, you don't.
No, I'd probably do a situation where I'd wait last minute to prepare and be like, oh shit, I don't have anything. And I would just grab a gun and take someone else's stuff.
Yikes.
What? Be prepared that someone's more prepared than you, man.
I guess I would.
Ha-
I don't know.
hasn't
What?
led me wrong before.
I guess like essentials, so like a bunch of like bottled water and canned food and
Nah.
a whole bunch of
No, you kidding
batteries,
me?
and I'd try to find
I
a
would.
boat, because again,
No, I would 100% grab as much Diet Snapple peach tea as I can. That would be my only concern. Is how is this going to affect the Snapple market? That's
it's
it.
gonna ruin it, Cole.
It's good. The Snapple market's going to collapse. I gotta go as much as I can now.
Snaffle's done.
I mean, they have some. It's literally just sugar and water. Like, it doesn't go bad.
Fair enough.
Yeah. And then you already have water, unless they turn off the water faucets, which would be pretty shitty of them. I mean, I guess they probably would.
They'd
be
probably
honest.
rupture, right? Or
I
Well, if
guess
my
because the
house is
moon. Oh
underwater, it doesn't do
yeah.
me much good, right?
Well, I was about to say we can get to that point where the conspiracy theorist finds out he's right, or not the conspiracy. The astronaut finds out that the conspiracy theorist is right,
Right.
so he goes to his meeting.
So, after impersonating him, he threw all of his like information at the astronaut, and the astronaut picks it all up, and I'm like, oh, he's not gonna leave? Okay, that's fine. So then,
Oh yeah, the shot for that was horribly done
oh
too.
yeah,
It
he's
was
like
very
standing, and then it
jarring.
just cuts to him picking it all up, and then it cuts away again. And
Yeah.
we're like, oh, that's it was a little jarring. Anyway, then hell breaks loose, right? And I thought this was weird because he goes from working on his car to outside in the dumpster trying to find this guy's paper because he apparently brought it home and then threw it away. And in the background, we see the whole city, and there's like fires and helicopters flying around and smoke everywhere. And then a police officer comes over to where he's digging in the dumpster and like gets her gun and she's like, "Freeze!" And the whole time I'm thinking, why are you here? Surely there's more pressing concerns than this guy
Yeah.
digging in the trash, right?
I was also gonna say too that like, dude, why are you still doing your job? The moon is coming towards the Earth. Why are you still
I
here?
guess I guess he wants to help, but I don't know, man. You're like
I
disgraced astronaut. I'm not sure what you're even going to be allowed to do.
once again, if I was in this situation, I would give my boss my 2 weeks notice and be like, I'm not. Don't even think about it.
Well,
there is there is no benefit from me working if we're all about to die.
well, the officer finds some papers that say orbital distance, and she's like, "Oh, is this what you're looking for?" And sure enough,
Yep, and he's just like, "Whoa, these papers are right." And then he goes to his little meetup after watching his website, where
okay, free bagels. We're
where
meeting up at this location tonight.
yeah, I was about to say I had like very similar vibes like the Riddler in the Batman, where he's like he's got an online presence, but the main people don't know about it until the moment that's needed for the plot.
Right.
I got. Oh well, I'm sorry. Slight. I guess too late now. I should have said slight spoilers for the Batman.
Oh, it's okay.
Yeah, good movie. Good movie.
Yeah, I enjoyed it a
Fun
lot.
movie. There's a little campy at some points, but it's still good.
There's a few things here and there. I don't
Mm-hmm.
that I don't think work in the plot, but for the most part, it's good.
Yeah, there you just got a mini review in this review.
Yeah, there you go, everyone.
Like something was
Go watch the
inside
Batman. I
this.
liked it. His introduction was
Like
probably the best.
like something was inside this review.
Whoa, it's meta.
um, but yeah, he goes to his little meetup, and everyone who's there is either like high on drugs or old as fuck. Like there's no middle ground. It's supposed to make him seem like the only sane one in the sea of conspiracy nuts, which is weird, right? Like so far, the movie has suggested that like conspiracy theorists are normal people, but then they have this scene where everyone's like a weird old person or high or something else about them.
Well, if you've ever talked to these conspiracy theorist type, they are always like 99% people who have like very rough or no home life whatsoever.
Yeah, yeah. I've looked into it because I've spoiler alert. Spoiler.
Blah, blah, blah.
Spoiler alert. I'm working on a video about cause, I mean I'm working on it for a while, but I have a video about conspiracy theorists in the works. And one of the things I point out is like almost always there's something in their life that makes them think, makes them lead down the path of this by making them think they're more intelligent than what they actually are. And it's usually because they want to prove something to a parent that isn't around.
I think so. I think it also gives like
Yeah.
a sense of control.
Yeah, because you feel like you're in control of a situation that isn't real.
Right. Like I know what
Mm-hmm.
really happened. I've got the information here,
Mm-hmm.
sort of thing.
I don't know why my parents divorced, but I sure as hell know why they faked the moon landing.
That's right.
Like that sort of thing.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Um,
Oh, let's see.
but so they try, but that's the thing. The conspiracy theorist in this movie doesn't have that. he has like his mom, but she doesn't seem like a bad person. He goes to
Well,
visit her.
she's struggling with the
That's what's
Alzheimer's.
weird, right?
Yeah, I guess it's just like the neckbeard, like difficult social relations that we have to infer from it.
That is true. He's very bad in all social interactions, not because he's a bad actor, just because his character is supposed to be bad at social interactions.
Yeah.
That's a real good crush they got there. I'm not a bad actor. My character's just anxious.
No, I think he plays the part well. He's really good in Game
No,
of
no,
Thrones.
I think he's great in it. I was just more making a joke. Everyone did a good job acting, except for Halle Berry, who was very stiff in her performance. I'm just gonna be honest.
There was a bit of stiffness in like the more dramatic moments from our main characters. I think
Yeah,
both of them. Just yeah.
they're very stale.
hmm
Um, but where is? Oh yeah, so he
Oh,
goes to see him. They talk
yeah,
at a
they
cafe.
yeah, the cafe and the hotel that they're in. It seems like
Yeah,
um they share a little moment because the astronaut's like, I know what it's like to say something that everyone else thinks is crazy. And it's like, okay, all right, I see what we're doing here. That's all right, that works.
yeah.
Um, and then we get Berry's POV. They launched a shuttle to go check out the moon, and
Mm-hmm.
things went very bad. They dropped a probe down into the moon hole, and it goes down, 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 down. That stops. That starts coming up, 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 and it comes up with the big eldritch demon monster thing, and it grabs the shuttle and like I guess like breaks into it. It's nanotech, so it just like pours in and then like wraps itself around the astronauts inside and kills them. It's like, ooh,
Yeah.
that's scary.
Why did they do that?
I guess just to because they figured out that there's a hole in the bottom of that crater, and I guess they just were trying to figure out why it was changing direction. So that's what the probe was for.
I just I don't get it. I don't understand why they murdered those astronauts. They weren't doing anything. They're just like checking out what's
Oh,
going on.
I guess it's just well that's the AI's thing, right? It kills stuff it
I
deems
guess so.
weaker.
I guess so. All right. Well, that
With
answers my
very
question.
specific parameters being met, which we'll discuss when we get there.
Yeah, we'll get there when we get there.
Yep. So let's see.
But yeah, now I think now at this point the moon is starting to fuck with the Earth.
Yeah, the city's getting flooded. There's that hilarious bit where they're all in the bottom level of this hotel watching a tidal wave roll in. They stare at it for like 10
Yeah.
seconds, and then Harper's like, "We need to get to higher ground," and they all start going upstairs except for Casey, who stays down, and then it crashes through, and he's like, "I can't swim."
For
So,
for no reason, by the way. For no reason.
oh yeah,
He's
he
just
just
staring.
stands there staring, and then it gets
Yeah.
flooded, and Casey's like, "I can't swim," and Harper gets to go save him. Oh,
And I
do you think that's a payoff? He finally gets to save one of his friends.
no.
No. Oh no. Okay, never
No.
mind.
They're not friends yet.
No, they had
They
like
haven't
two
had the same.
conversations.
I guess that makes friends. I guess that means he's a friend now.
I
We've had two. When we first met, we had two conversations, and they were both fantastic. And you definitely liked me.
Yeah, I definitely liked you after two conversations. That's how that went.
We've actually only ever had two conversations. It was crazy.
Yeah, this is one of them.
All the other episodes that you've heard is us having two different discussions, and I just combined
I
the
actually
audio
just
together.
mute him the whole time we're doing this.
Yeah.
It's actually a miracle if we ever like stay on track.
Yeah, I'm surprised. Honestly, I like to listen in. I'm like, holy shit, we're killing it.
Easy there.
um,
So let's see.
but yeah, there's no reason for him to stand there. He just does, and then he needs to be saved, and then he gets saved. And that's the like. Okay, so yeah, the water is currently rising, but then it just stops rising, even though the moon is still moving. But it just decides it wants to stop moving, which feels
Yeah,
very weird.
so
to me,
everything
right? Yeah.
stays flooded, But even though like the time of day is changing, like, cause they're there for a while in
Yeah.
that hotel, and like it just always flooded. They have to get helicoptered out. But I'm getting ahead. Let's catch up here. So, Halle Berry. So top NASA bro is like steps out of the room, calls his family, tells him to get to higher ground, go to Aspen. Everyone goes to Aspen in this movie. And she's like, "What are you
I
doing? We got to solve this." And he's like, "I'm done. This not happening. You've always wanted to be
he
director. Here's your my card. Go ham."
he quite literally was like, he first lied to the American people and said, "Oh yeah, we got everything under control," and then like left after that. He was like, "No, I'm good. Good luck, Chuckle Nuts," and just decided to dip on out of there. I want to say he was Holdenfield, right? Was that the guy's name?
Uh, um, maybe.
Old white guy with gray hair, right?
No, Holden Field's the other guy.
Oh, Donald Sutherland. Sorry, his name's Donald Sutherland.
Albert.
That's his actor's name. Because I want to say he's in. I saw him before in. Um.
No, no, no. That's the Hunger Games guy. You're
Yeah.
what is this? NASA director
Oh, here it
Albert
is. I found him.
Hutchins.
I clicked the wrong person. Um. He was in It apparently as Mr. Marsh. But I thought he was in. Uh. The Good Place. I'm pretty sure he was.
No, that's the other guy. That's the guy from CSI Miami.
Oh, okay.
Different
Thank
old
you.
man with white hair.
He looks similar. His hair looks similar.
They do look kind of similar.
What a good show.
Oh, I love that show.
Yeah, it's
There
I
you
watched
go.
it
You
with
guys
a
got
friend.
another review. we recommend.
Well,
we recommend the
we
Good
recommend a lot
Place.
of it. It's also it did end, so you don't have to worry about it going on forever.
Yeah, I think after only 4 seasons.
Yeah, it was a great ending too.
Ah,
Solid ending.
I haven't actually seen the ending yet.
Oh, it's such a good. Oh,
I think I'm on season 3.
it gets better. It's so even when you think like you're like, oh, okay, the show's over. The show's just like, no, 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 we got a few more things to wrap up, and you're like, oh, I never thought about this.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, then I'm
Yeah,
I'm excited.
hell yeah. When I come visit, we'll watch it together.
Oh, okay.
I'll down to rewatch it.
There you go.
Where are we? Oh,
There you go, everyone. Good Place review. Anyway,
Um,
so she gets to be director now, and she goes. I think he tells her to go look up a file, so she goes
yeah,
to storage, flashes her shiny new badge at the guy there, and yeah, Donald Sutherland is there, Holdenfield as it is. He's preparing to kill himself. He's cleaning a gun at his desk, and he's got one bullet. Let's see. She goes and this is when she finds the recording with the Eldritch monster attacking them. Donald rolls out, tells her some stuff.
yeah. He's just like, yeah, that whole thing was a cover up. No one's supposed to know about it. But now that you're in charge, now you can know about it. And he also brings up that they were making a specific weapon that has never been seen before by humanity, and that was a weapon that was a giant EMP just for that machine. Like the literal MacGuffin that they just made up on the spot. And they're like, yeah, you remember what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
He
it's
says,
coming
like,
back to me now.
yeah, he's just like, yeah, we had a thing that was specifically made to destroy this thing that we definitely know is inside the moon. But we had to stop making it because of budget cuts.
Yeah.
And my reaction is, what the fuck do you mean budget cuts? Just rework it. Make up an excuse of why you need more money, or do what Amazon does and pay your workers less. Like, it's not a hard thing to do.
Yeah, it's pretty bizarre that it's like,
It's a
oh, we're not going to tell anybody that there's a Giga monster living in the moon that we're trying
which,
to
okay,
prepare
I
a
get
weapon
that.
for. Well,
I understand
not like
why
everybody,
not to do
but
that.
like the rest of the government. Like, no, we really need this funding. It might
So,
like.
So there's a theory about, I don't remember the name of it, but there is a theory of if there is a secret that is known to more than one person or to a group of people, it is more likely that someone is going to tell the truth about it. Like that's why a lot of people will say like people are like, "Oh, the moon landing's fake." At this point in time, we would have heard that the moon landing was in fact fake. We would have heard about it like 5 years after it happened. Like the ability, the amount of people that it would take to silence that is unrealistic. Like someone would eventually tell the truth of the situation. So, like telling more people is not beneficial in this world. I'm not saying what they did is a good thing. I'm just saying I get why they didn't do it. It also is just it's just like you could lie. You could lie. You could just lie. It's not a hard thing to do.
Yeah.
I'm actually gonna look up what that thing's called because that's gonna be bothering me. You take the plot from here. I look this up.
All right. So, God, let's see. City's flooded. Halle Berry director tells, I guess, the military about what's going on, and they're like, "All right, well, we've got an idea. It's a military operation now. We'll handle it." And her ex-husband happens to be on this panel as a very high-ranking officer. So they all walk out, except for ex-husband, and Halle Berry's explaining. Um, she thinks she's got a solution that she's going to implement, and she needs him to trust.
Yeah, he's very much like, oh, we gotta. This is a military. Like the line literally is like, okay, I have a plan. I know about a secret bomb we have that we can use to blow up the thing. They're like, well, where are you gonna get the ship from? He's like, She's like, I got a plan for that. And his response was, it's too late. It's a military operation now, and that's it. That's the whole discussion. I'm like, what? Hold on. Just because she has all the details of the plan, your knee jerk reaction is to blow it up. It's a very weird turn of events.
Yeah.
By the way, I have it here. There's no actual term for it, but there's 3 rules to it. First, the chance that a person discloses the secret either accidentally or intentionally. Second, the number of people who know about the conspiracy. And third, the growth of diminution of the group of people involved. Has there been a murder of which a number of people knew something? The group will thin out eventually because people are dying or are being actively eliminated. Basically saying that how many people are going to know it, how many will be able to keep it a secret, because people slip things all the time. People are like make mistakes of telling the truth, and like the third one says, someone's eventually going to find out if people start going missing. Like someone's going to be like, that doesn't seem right. So, I feel like I get what I'm not defending this movie. By the way, I'm not defending this movie.
Yeah.
I'm just saying like keeping that a secret and then being like, but we ran out of funding. It's just a stupid fucking reason.
It seems like you got to pick one. Like, oh, we decide it's probably not actually like that gonna be that big of a deal, and so it's fine. Or like, we did everything we could and literally no one would listen. I don't know. It's very odd that like it seems like you'd have to pick one.
Yeah.
But alas, military comes and picks up Harper and Casey. And
yeah, I believe this next step of events.
Yep. They get all suited up and go to military installation, talk to Halle Berry, discuss their plan. Sort of.
This is the. Yeah, they meet up, right? The conspiracy theorists, the
2 astronauts, yeah.
Yeah, and like, of course, they're first because but this is the girl who was saved at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same character. So obviously they're immediately going to be like, "Oh man, I hate you so much. You're the worst. Oh man, I don't want to work with you." And the conspiracy theorist is just like, "Ha ha ha ha! This is so cool. I got to meet the head of NASA. I'm gonna cum in my pants." There's also we went past this, but he has a box of pills that he has to take, and he always makes sure that he's taking the red pill.
Mm-hmm.
That's not important to the scene right now, but I feel like that's very important to talk about.
Yeah. Well, that's a thing that will be discussed further.
Yeah.
Let's see.
Um,
So,
they all meet up. What happens? Do you have the movie up currently?
yeah, they meet up and they pick up the Endeavor, the shuttle, and they're shipping it back to.
The Apollo 11 one, right?
Oh, I don't know.
I wrote down that they said at the beginning. So at the beginning of the movie, they were cutting footage of like the first Apollo 11 launch, but then they say that the ship they're using was for the Apollo 12 launch, but they also were saying that the Apollo 11, like they switched from 11 to 12 back to 11. Like it only did this into like 5 minutes, which confused the fuck out of me.
Okay,
Whether
the Endeavor was used for 25 missions. Um, was built after Challenger. If well, it's in a bunch of missions, but most of them were just satellite repair.
but what number was it the first one for?
Its first mission was repair and release a communications satellite. The mission was STS-49.
Okay, now I gotta look up what a spaceship flew Apollo 11. The Saturn V rocket launched Apollo 11. About Apollo 12. The Yankee Clipper. What? So the spaceships he said weren't right. What?
Did they get that wrong?
They got that
That's a
wrong.
weird thing to get wrong. Are we sure we heard them
It's a
correctly?
very. Well, they made mention that on the first ship thing was the Apollo 11 that they interacted with those aliens and like lights went out or they turned off the cameras for 2 minutes.
Well, that was
Which I
like
don't think they could do.
that was like Neil
I don't think they,
Armstrong's mission, like first time
yeah,
landing.
I don't think they could do that in the 60s. I don't think they would just cut feed like that. I don't know.
I have no idea.
That one, bud.
I
Yeah.
I don't know why
You
they
saying
wouldn't.
You saying Buzz Aldrin just like kickstarted that memory of Buzz Aldrin punching a conspiracy theorist in the face,
Yes.
and I like that's the summation of this movie for me. It's just a guy yelling at a man who is on the moon, getting his shit rocked by an old man.
I We should talk about how funny it is that this guy who seems to have like a pretty decent understanding of like physics to the point where he understands like orbits and whatnot is
Casey, you mean?
yeah, is like
Yeah.
mostly just a conspiracy theorist like rambling on with seemingly no evidence about like the moon being hollow and being the holding for a
Oh,
gyrosphere.
that's most of the characters. Like they immediately picked up on the fact that this thing was an AI. Like they immediately like, oh, that thing in the sky, that's a computer.
They just like
It must be a computer.
they figure stuff out very quickly and they bring this conspiracy theorist on their mission just for like
Mm-hmm. Well, because he's fast at thinking on his feet with math and stuff.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah, but like the other thing too is that he just starts working at NASA with two other. We're all over the place in this theory with this film, but like, it doesn't really fucking matter. I don't think anyone's going to give a fuck about the plot of fucking Moonfall.
I
Um,
I don't think this middle section's too important, but it is pretty funny
no.
actually that he just like they're at NASA and the Endeavor's there and he just like walks in, he's like wearing the uniform and everything and he's doing work.
Yeah. Yeah, there's a scene where like which was a very jarring scene because there's a lot of that in this film too. It's just like scenes happen and then the next thing just moves. It just moves on from there
Hmm.
without any explanation of what just happened. So like there's a scene where they're getting the ship ready to fly, and they're like, "Oh, we're down an engine, yada yada yada," and then because they're down an engine because the world or there's like an earthquake that just started to break apart the Earth for no reason. Like this is the only time that the Earth breaks in this movie. I think it's like the only time an earthquake happens. Everything else is just destruction from above.
Yeah, as far as we know, at least.
Yeah. So like where is that? So that happens, and he falls on the ground, and then he looks at the camera that was showing the direction of the moon, and he's like, "Are these your guys' calculations? Well, actually, you guys are wrong. Here's the real calculations." And it's just like these two guys have been working at NASA for years now, and it's real convenient that this conspiracy theorist who just looked at the way a moon moved suddenly knows more than people who have degrees in 4 years of college.
Right.
Maybe
4 years
maybe
minimum,
8.
right? Like, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's definitely one of those, like, Wesley Crusher
self-graduated
from
Cersei. Yeah,
Star Trek Next Generation things. Just like, okay.
it's it's just like, oh, I just know all this information more than you guys do.
Hmm. But,
Which like if his whole thing is he knows about the moon, that's fine. But it's just like it's so annoying.
yeah, it's a thing.
Yeah. Um.
So,
They I was gonna say this is also when they were like, oh, we can't fly the ship anymore. Oh yeah, they had a whole crew. They had two other people besides the main astronaut
right.
who's gonna go on this embarkment, who's gonna go on this adventure. And I knew as soon as those two arrived, I'm like, they're not gonna. No, there's no way in hell these two Randys are gonna join on this mission.
Right.
There's no way in hell it's gonna happen.
These two randos we just met an hour into the movie.
Yeah. We've established two other characters. We need three people to fly the ship. I'm not fucking stupid.
I have a pretty good idea of who's going on this mission.
Yeah.
And sure enough.
Yeah, so what happens is that one of the rockets isn't working, so they can't make the mission. So the head of NASA, remember, this is the only like chance that humanity has to survive.
Yeah.
Her reaction is just go, all right, everybody, go home, go to a bunker, go underground. We'll stay with your loved ones. Have a good night. And then, like, not even 5 minutes later, the conspiracy theory is like, oh yeah, we're good to go. We could do it with only two engines. We're good. And so now, now everyone's left at this point, and so now they're stuck with only those two, and then the two Randys who were doing the calculations.
Right. Yep, so
It's a very
we're
much
down
like,
to a 5-person team.
yeah, it's very much like, oh, I need to get rid of everyone in this scene without killing them all. How do I do that? I know. It's a very very stupid situation to get to that scene
Yeah.
of them trying to fly the ship.
Yeah, it's totally like, oh, the audience is surely going to think that other people are more qualified than the conspiracy theorists to go on this mission, right? Yeah. How do we get rid of the other astronauts?
It's very silly.
Very silly indeed. Anyway.
Not in a fun way.
Not in a fun way.
No. So now they're on their mission into space to what are they doing in space again? Why are they going to space?
They've got the EMP, and they're looking to go to the moon to drop it. Oh, it's worth mentioning. Their journey into space did not go great. One of their rockets stopped working partway up, and so they had to drop both rockets because it was screwing up their trajectory. And they were
also, they were being hit by water because now all of a sudden the water decided to start moving again.
Yeah.
For no reason.
So they're at Cape Canaveral. I've been there because it's in Florida. It is not high above water level. I feel like this was one of the first places to get dunked, but maybe the water flooded it once and then receded afterwards. I'm not sure.
So that confused me because, like, where is this movie at currently? Like, what state are we in?
The
Are
ro-
we in
I'm
Florida?
pretty sure the rocket launched from Cape Canaveral because I recognize some of the buildings.
Okay.
Now that could have
But
just been like set pieces, and like they
that's
may
what I'm
have
thinking.
they may have given us a different. They may have said somewhere else, but that's where I imagine they launched from.
Yeah, that's literally on the water. That would get flooded immediately.
Yeah.
I'm looking at it right now, yeah. I assume. Well, because why would you have like a launch point near the center of like um, the country, right? That doesn't make much sense to me. Because you want enough room to shoot the rocket out, right?
Yeah.
So that's just a lot of wasted land when you can just launch it over the water, and now you have all that room to launch.
Mhm.
So I don't know. I don't know fucking enough about NASA to know anything about this. But
No,
point
it's
being,
just
yeah, they're getting hit by water currently, like drenched in water. That is also like being pulled up because the moon is currently above them. So they're able to use the gravity of the moon to go higher. Even though we never see the moon as above them, the moon just never there.
yeah. So gravity gets played with a lot. I think it's worth mentioning. The ocean is a massive body of water, so it gets affected by the moon in, a way that really isn't that significant. We're talking the tide coming in or going out. It's the matter of a couple feet, right? Worth
Yeah.
of water. We go from that to a rocket being helped out of space because the moon was in the right spot at the right time. Like, the Earth
It
is many, many times more massive than the moon, and you're already on Earth, so like it is I I'm really skeptical that it makes this much of a difference, but you know what? I'm not an astronaut, so I can't say that with 100% certainty.
so to be fair to you, James, I don't think the director knows either about how the moon works. I'm looking currently. I'm gonna get to these later, but these are some pretty fucking great things. On IMDb, there are goofs that you can look at,
Oh
and
yeah. I haven't
one of
oh,
them
I didn't look at
is
that yet.
it's a fucking gold mine. One of them is the moon is clearly shown in several scenes as moving from east to west. Like most everything that orbits the Earth, the moon moves from west to east.
Okay, that's actually pretty
Which
funny.
I didn't even think about that
I
because yeah.
Yeah, I didn't think about that either.
So like, I don't think you need to worry about being correct on things.
Oh, so real quick, I'm now also looking at the goose. This is a whole paragraph. I'm only going to read the first sentence to you, though. The moon is
Yeah.
approximately 1% the mass of the Earth. So,
Yeah,
yeah,
there'd be no way in
I
hell.
don't.
Well, remember. So here's the thing, though. So here, not to defend the movie, but hear me out. This isn't actually a moon. Remember, it's not the same as what we thought it was.
Oh, you
You
know
can't
what?
operate.
You're right,
They literally,
actually.
they literally have a line in the movie saying you can't base this off of the real moon because it's not a real moon,
So,
which is stupid.
do we approach
Spoilers.
spoilers now with what the moon is?
Yeah, so we're at spoilers now. I'm actually gonna write down for myself what time we talk about spoilers, so I have that ready for next time.
Absolutely.
So,
I'm doing it. We're getting into spoilers. Everybody ready for this?
yeah, leave now if you don't want to hear about spoilers. We're gonna give you a few more minutes. Minutes, Jesus, seconds. Sorry, we just go quiet for 5 minutes to pass the time.
Alright, I'm doing it. So, the moon itself is actually a Dyson sphere, which, if you don't know, it's
Mm-hmm.
essentially the idea of you creating a structure around a sun or a star, something adjacent, right? And that way you
Yeah.
can capture all of its energy, whether it be with solar panels or something else. You're grabbing up all the energy, and it's like the most efficient way to utilize a star. So that's what the moon is. Essentially, it is an outer crust that is the moon that we know and love, and then on the inside there is a structure surrounding a white dwarf, which is what I believe our sun will become at one point in time, billions of years from now. It's after
Really?
I think so. If I might be wrong on that, but it's essentially you've got a few options for what can happen as a star starts running out of juice. One option is supernova, which is the big one that everyone loves to talk about, and then there's white dwarfs and black dwarfs, which is what smaller suns do. And essentially, it is a smaller, cooler substance where it's like just the majority of it is like just what was the core of the sun beforehand. So, what's important for this is white dwarfs are real small, or not real small. They're real big. Yeah, I think about the size of Earth or bigger. I don't think they get
Yeah.
much smaller than Earth. So,
Yeah. So keep in mind, by the way, they make mention how deep this hole is and like how deep the hole goes in. So it's not just it's not the size of the moon. It is smaller than the moon. It's like 1% of the moon's size. So it'd be like 1% of 1%.
yeah, it's just like the core. It reminds me of in Infinity War, Nidavellir or whatever it is, where they forge
Mm.
Thor's new axe. Like that's sort of what you're looking at idea wise.
Yeah.
But
But that's a
yeah,
star, which makes way more sense.
it's yeah, closer
Yeah. That's
maybe.
yeah.
But
By the way, that'd be 0.001%. The white dwarf is 0.001% the size of Earth.
right. So I don't think that works. I don't think that's a thing that happens. So we'll have to give them that. And then the other thing is, excuse me, they are very massive, like in terms of sheer volume of matter that they have. So
Yeah.
I I guess what I'm trying to say is if the moon is breaking apart because it gets too close to Earth, I'm surprised the moon hasn't destroyed itself by collapsing inwards. I guess that alien infrastructure on the inside must be.
Welcome back.
Thank you, thank you.
And we are back as well. Sorry about that, folks. We had a little audio problem. Audacity was being what we call a bitch.
Oh,
Um,
Audacity.
but yeah, we were at yeah, the white dwarf would be way too fucking small for it to be inside the moon.
Yeah, just the science doesn't line up on it,
No.
which
Um,
oh well.
it's a lot of this movie, but
Also, with the
anyways,
amount
the
of
point
energy it
being,
puts out, I feel like a Dyson sphere would have to be bigger.
well, that's the thing is that it feels like the director heard the word Dyson sphere. He's like, that sounds cool. I want it in my movie.
Yeah, yeah,
Without,
I think so.
yeah. Um, but yeah, they end up going inside one of the like things that the Dyson sphere is encircling, because there's like a whole civilization that lived inside of it. But we don't get to see any of the aliens. No, we don't get to see any of them.
Oh, I don't think they're
Um,
still there. We can talk about that whole
yeah,
reveal when
go
we
for
get
it.
to it. Oh, I just.
I think that's the next scene, right? Because they get knocked
Oh,
out.
where are we? They get uh, the goo doesn't attack the EMP because it doesn't have organic matter on it. Then it goes for them.
Mm,
They knock out all their cell phone and their all that stuff, and it goes away. So then they leave the Endeavor and get on the lander and go gather the bomb, and then they head inside. Make their way inside. And then on the inside, of course, this is like the big reveal as like the hole in the ground becomes a tunnel. And then, big old Dyson sphere. There's like a gyro working system in there, all surrounding the white dwarf, which is the white dwarf is consistently surrounded by the monster until the monster starts
mm.
chasing them. And I think they get chased for a little while, and then that's when oh, it like almost takes them, but then a door on the inner structure opens up, tractor beams them in, and then shuts the hangar door behind them to keep the goo monster out.
Yeah, it's a very like convenient last minute save sort of thing.
Yeah, Strex Machina.
Hmm.
And they're all losing air because their ship's been damaged by the goo, and they all get knocked out. And then the door of their ship opens. Ooh.
Ooh.
And let's see. Oh, at this point, they do the thing where they're getting ready to nuke the moon, and ex-husband is like, "No, I'm not gonna do it. My ex-wife's up there, and I trust her."
I think the line specifically is "I trust her with everything," which I mean, you literally haven't this entire movie up until this point.
Y-
But
It
now all of a sudden he just decided to change his mind.
it's an odd one,
Yeah.
'cause I don't know, like there's a lot of people I trust, but this is like all of Earth.
Yeah. He grabs a gun and holds everyone hostage when like someone else in that group has a gun too. You could just shoot him.
Oh well, that's why I said when we were watching it, I was like,
Yeah.
shoot the key, because it's like to launch the nukes, like two people have to enter keys and then turn them at the same time.
That makes sense.
And he's got the other key, so I'm like, oh, shoot it, so it's ruined, and then they can't use it, because surely somebody's just gonna, get behind you and bonk you on the head, or someone else is gonna shoot you or something. But
No, it's just really convenient that the door behind him had nobody there.
yeah, there's just no one there, so that all works. Redditor and Halle Berry wake up. Uh,
Hmm.
they can breathe in the hangar, so that's lovely. Uh, they kind of get it sort of guides them to Harper, who's talking to uh, his kid as a small kid,
Hmm.
small boy, and it's not actually his kid; it's an illusion, and it explains everything to him. Essentially, there
I
were
was about to say, imagine like the scene from Captain Marvel, but with less production. Like
who,
where she's inside that broom with the clone of someone she trusted.
yeah, it
It's
is
like that,
just
but
like that.
it's like that, but much cheaper because they didn't animate anything.
hmm
It's literally just like a white void.
Yep. So they explain, uh, you know, there apparently humanity existed a long, long time ago, far, far away. They had halo rings. It was very nice. But this AI that they
Yeah.
made, the black goo, apparently became self-aware, and they've like they've got it like in a little box in their house, and it's like they're keeping it as a pet or something. But it all breaks out, and it's tired of being enslaved by an organic force that is much weaker than it, so it all breaks out and merges together and kills everybody. So they were making moon-sized Dyson spheres to toss all over the world, or the universe, and only one got out, and it was our moon, of course. So
Yeah, of course.
the monster destroyed everything else, except for the
Oh,
one
we're
moon that.
talking like. Sorry, I was going to say we're talking like basically think of like Amazon Alexa, but in a triangle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just goes and destroyed everything except for that one moon that made it out, and that moon was there for the creation of our Earth.
Yeah.
Just like real life. And
I don't know how it got there. Like
uh,
they just said, "Oh yeah, it got there."
they threw it.
That was one fucking sick arm.
I guess. So they
But yeah,
they dumped some of their DNA on Earth, and that led to humans.
yeah.
Um,
Which
there wasn't any
brings up the
steps in
question.
between.
Yeah, I was gonna say that brings up the question of why do we think then that this is more conspiracies that aliens that or that monkeys were made from aliens and like all they had to do was just not show a human couple. They could have showed monkeys and everything would have been fine. Because like okay,
Well, I don't know
that
about
makes more sense to me.
fine, but would have
That
been
makes more
better.
sense to me.
Cause,
Yeah,
cause yeah, on the planet they were humans, and
yeah. And now we're still humans. We never evolved, and that means nothing else ever evolved.
we still
Um,
see the creation of the Earth though.
Yeah, so it's very strange. Like when you think about it like that, you're like, oh, that makes no goddamn sense at all, and the movie falls apart more than it already does.
Yep.
Um, yeah,
So
that's the explanation they give to everything, and then he like Halle Berry and Redditor Man find him, and they go, "What happened?" And he just says, "Oh yeah, the aliens caught me up in the entire lore of the movie, so we can have the third final act." Um, they also rebuilt our ship. That's pretty cool. And
yeah,
they,
yeah, their
they
ship is just
yeah,
like fixed, and not only is
yeah,
it fixed, it's improved dramatically. Actually, it's much better now than it
yeah.
was previously.
They even have a better bomb that was made for the sole purpose of destroying this alien thing.
Yep. So just so we're clear, we have two AIs: good alien AI and bad alien goopy AI,
Mm-hmm.
and they are not
The
pleased with
black
each
goop
other.
is the black goop is obviously the evil AI.
Of course, of course.
So
So they lift off and begin their chase scene. Um, I know this scene made Cole very happy as
yeah.
they flew around in their new highly maneuverable craft.
So real quick, I want to point out. I was thinking to myself, okay, so there's going to be at some point there's going to be a gunfight. Like at some point we're going to see lasers being shot. I just know it. Like there's no way in hell that this director who is known for making ridiculously stupid flying scenes is not going to have a scene where it's fucking just lasers being shot. And sure enough, the Dyson sphere starts pulling out lasers from the sides of the like not being manned, just out of nowhere, and just starts shooting the black goop AI. And I screamed for joy. I literally clapped.
Yeah, apparently the AI has crafted a whole fleet of ships, which aren't flying or anything. They're just parked, but they've all got guns on them, and they're all just shooting the AI or the black goop the whole time.
Yeah,
And
it's a
we haven't talked about the B plot like at all. The families have gathered and they're trying to survive in Colorado, and they keep running into like looters and like other groups, and they're like trying to like make sure they have good resources and oxygen tanks because the air is getting sucked out of the atmosphere and stuff. None of it's particularly important, but
I was about to say
I just want to make sure that you know this is happening.
I was about to say we made it very far in the movie without talking about the B plot at all, and I was hoping we could get away without doing that.
I feel bad not mentioning it whatsoever.
I
You
feel like
it
we could
you
keep
should
going
just
even.
know it's inconsequential.
Yeah, because so he does that every time in these type of movies, right? It's always like a family he has to follow to make everyone feel as if they are like to because you can't really relate um with so you can't really relate with these people out in space. You're like you've never been in space, so you have to relate with the family more than the space people. But the problem here is that I don't care about the family because they aren't doing anything interesting. Because their survival is based off of if the A team does what they need to do, and if they don't, then there isn't a movie.
Well, I think it's worth
Like,
mentioning. Yeah, we
go
always
ahead.
have to tie everything back to Star Wars, right? In
Yeah, of course.
like in Return of the Jedi, like Vader and Luke and the Emperor having their kerfuffle, like what happens there won't actually change anything. Like the battle on land influences the battle in space, and then the battle of space is whether or not the Death Star gets destroyed. So what happens to Luke, Vader, and Sidious doesn't actually change anything whatsoever for like that
Really.
battle specifically, but there's like a lot of emotion there because that's where our developed characters are, and like that's where arguably like a much more important battle is happening in terms of like the ideology and the heroism that's present. That's not in this B plot though. Like
No.
I being as good faith as I can be, I struggle to find meaning in it.
There. The only thing I can think of, because like, no, I can't really. The only thing that the B plot does is piss me off. Because every time we cut to it, the moon is doing something different to the same area they're in and keeps coming back around way too fucking quickly. Like, it feels real convenient the moon just does random shit in order to make the plot progress.
Yeah, I
Like, there's
definitely.
this.
Oh, go
Go
ahead.
ahead. I was gonna say there's a scene in it where oh my god, my brain. I need focus. There's a scene where two of the characters need to make a jump, and they literally use the moon's gravity to make the jump. And the scene before that, she's like, "Oh, you're trapped under a tree, but don't worry, the moon's gonna help me by making this object less heavy." Like, that's not how that would work. The moon wouldn't just do that; it would pull you in as well if this was the case. If everything you're saying is true, you would be being pulled in too.
The moon physics are really inconsistent. Like
Yeah.
stuff is getting pulled off the ground and flung into space while our characters are just walking around or driving around all willy-nilly for the most part. Like it's very
Yeah.
strange how a lot of it works.
Very,
Inconsistent is
very strange, very inconsistent, and not well done.
yeah, and I think like the big I think what's really happening here is they just want to show us, the hellscape that is Earth right now with a moon this close. And they want to show
But the
us the
problem,
cool the cool scenes where the gravity's all floopy and with the meteors constantly showering down on Earth and stuff getting picked up and tossed back down and like the burning moon as it grazes our atmosphere. Like I think that's the goal. We're here for the visuals.
it's very, yeah, it's very much just like this is where all the money went for the visuals. And I feel like it would have been better if you showed other locations and other places. I know it's a crazy thought, but there are other places besides America that are being affected. Like, they show
Wild.
one scene where, like, the gravity was fucking with stuff and whatnot, but, like, it didn't make sense. And we were even trying to figure out, like, okay, the water's high right now, but when the sun comes up and the moon's on the other side of the planet, then the gravity's going to be so low that all the water is not going to be there anymore. But the water was still there when the sun came up. Like, it's just like the moon is less of a threat and more of a plot device, and the
It
problem and the solution.
it's very much we are just going to put this here and it will allow us to do whatever we want to do.
Yeah, it's very embarrassing.
It's it's pretty standard Hollywood rot. Just
Yeah,
just here this thing looks cool. You like this, don't you?
yeah, that's basically what it is. It's basically what it is. Sorry, I sent James something in our Discord,
All right. Thanks for this.
and no problem. I was like-
All right.
um,
As for the remainder of this movie, God, what happens
yeah,
next?
I
Uh,
think they just
I'm
destroyed
looking
the
at
moon,
there's
right?
the scene here of New York, like
Yeah.
or Manhattan. Like it looks really cool. There's rocks all in the sky and they're coming down. There's crashing on stuff. There's glass that's like floating up towards the air and big chunks of uh buildings while you can see the moon coming like up top just flying by on fire from it hitting the atmosphere. Like it looks real nice. It does.
Mm-hmm. It looks great, but I don't think that means anything.
Not not super helpful
I,
there.
I don't know. I think just because something looks visually entertaining doesn't mean it's good.
Well, it's like any so if it's not because everything's in aid of the writing, right? So
Well, yeah.
if your writing isn't good, then essentially your visual needs to stand on its own, which
Yeah.
you know, fine,
War of the Planet of the
but
Apes did that. The visuals in War of the Planet of the Apes and all that. Like, story wasn't great, but the way that they got the animals to move and stuff looked very natural, and
Right.
that's what kind of sold it to some people.
Well, I think there's, I definitely wouldn't say there isn't value there. Like the production values are pretty great here, but
Agreed.
I think the overall point is, I don't think there's much longevity in your story then, because your
Mm.
effects are gonna age, but like writing quality doesn't age.
Yeah, we've talked
Yeah.
about this before. We talked about it like I think we've talked about this like once before about
Probably.
like a film should be able to like graphically eventually a film will fall apart, but as long as it's well written, people will still come back to it.
Hmm. Well, I think you just look at Avatar, right? Like it's it was absolutely gorgeous when it came out, and it still is, honestly. But it's
Mm.
not like as good as it was, and you don't remember that for for its story or its
Fuck no.
characters.
I
Yeah.
remember I remember Unobtainium
I was gonna say
only because my
everyone remembers
dad.
The Rock was called Unobtainium, which is funny.
Yeah,
I
because
prefer
it's a stupid
Contrivium
name.
personally, but
That's a good one.
um,
But yeah, I think next they just blow up the moon, right?
yeah, they our characters, the ones that we have established, have a little
Mm.
kerfuffle. You know, Halle Berry's like, I'm in charge of NASA. I'm gonna get into the rover and drop the bomb on it. And Harper's like, no, I'm the captain of this mission, and I'm staying behind. And the Red is just like, I'm gonna do it, and just leaves, just crawls into the back and shuts the door behind him. And he's like, I'm doing it.
Yeah,
Tell them, tell them what I did. And they drop him,
yeah.
and yeah, the goo,
He dies.
he dies. The goo like consumes his craft and like breaks in a little bit, and then right when it like starts materializing inside, he sets it off, and it kills the goop.
Yeah. And
Um,
so the moon, now no longer being controlled by that, all of a sudden just goes back to where it was.
yeah. Um,
Yeah.
it
It just
like
stops
it
trying to
grazes
hit
the
the
top of a
earth. Yeah.
mountain and then starts leaving. And our heroes are in their in the pod, and parachutes get launched, and it lands.
Yeah, and that's it. That's the scene. That's how the movie. Well, the movie ends with them
Uh,
being launched
ha-
out of the moon,
yeah,
right?
yeah. Halle Berry's kid calls her, and for some reason
Which
that works,
shouldn't happen. Yeah, as I say, that shouldn't work.
because cell towers and satellites are usually the first to go in natural disasters, and we know
Yeah,
there's no satellites left. We know there is no satellites left.
we literally see a scene where the satellite gets destroyed.
The satellite.
The, there's only one satellite
There's
up
only
there
one
with
satellite.
like,
There's not
yeah.
thousands.
No, there was just one, which I also thought was pretty funny. Now that you brought it up, like, oh yeah, that's really fucking stupid.
Maybe was that the one they refueled at? Maybe.
Yeah, that was.
Yeah.
But still, like, is the movie ends with everyone getting together. We didn't bring up the guy who died, but there's a guy who died, and they're like, "Oh, we're sad."
We're
For
sad,
like maybe three
kinda.
seconds. Yeah, for 3 seconds, and then they're like, "Well, I guess we better go home."
They look up at the moon, which has had its
Yeah,
surface completely stripped away, so all the
yeah.
mechanicalness of it is visible, and it's got a nice ring around it of all of the debris and matter, likely from Earth and from its own surface.
Mhm. And that's where the movie should end.
Oh yeah, that's where it should end. We then do you want to take the ending here?
I would love to take the ending. So this redditor, this epic guy, this guy with probably gold karma, right? He wakes up to find himself inside the area that the astronaut from earlier was in, and he sees Fuzz Aldrin meow. Now, Fuzz Aldrin, for those of you who didn't watch the movie and are still here in spoiler talk, in which case, thank you. is the name of his cat, um, and it's the thing that he cares about the most, besides his mom, who shows up next to him, and he's like, "Am I dead?" And she goes, "No, you are inside the moon. We was it? We uploaded your conscious to the moon."
Yep,
So
uploaded your consciousness.
so they uploaded his consciousness into the moon. So now he is in control of the entire moon. And then she
Whoa.
goes, "What?"
We is that what we think?
I mean, that's what it's suggesting, isn't it? That he's
I,
now,
I guess it
because
might be.
the next line is from her is "We should get started," and he's like, "On what?" And then the movie ends on that line, suggesting that they have bigger plans for the moon,
Yep.
which is, I'm very excited to see if there's more to this movie and this series. There probably won't be. There's probably flunks and flops here.
Oh, it seems to be flopping pretty hard.
Yeah. And I don't know why it would like go anywhere else. I really don't see how it would. But yeah, this movie sucks. I'm not gonna beat around the bush. This is just not a good movie.
Yeah, it's yeah, not good. Um,
Yeah,
looked good. Got a few good laughs out of us.
uh, yeah, but like it's just like don't just don't see it. Like unironically, don't see it if you
I
haven't
I
seen
probably
it
wouldn't see it.
already.
It probably looks really
I
good in the theater and probably sounds really good, but
Yeah, but there's so many better movies like Morbius you should go watch instead.
yeah, go see Morphe.
Go see Morbius.
I've
Go
heard
see.
I've heard things about that movie.
We could talk about it after this episode because I have a specific thing I want to talk to you about that I'm sure you're going to absolutely love to hear.
Oh, okay.
Um, but no, seriously, just go see anything else. Literally anything else besides the Harry Potter movie. It's just don't go see Sonic. It'll be out by the time this
So we're
episode is
not
out.
allowed to
Go,
see this or the Harry Potter movie.
I mean, Harry Potter movies for other reasons, but yeah, it's just do what do you give this? What the fuck do we give this? I don't even have like a funny number to give it.
IMDb gave it a 5.2. The top review
Yeah,
on IMDb gave it a 2 out of 10.
what's
Hence,
what's the review say?
it says if you take parts of 20 other movies and mash them together. I'm a sci-fi junkie and I enjoy stupid, mindless action flick. I still find Armageddon highly entertaining to this day. Hell yeah, brother. I'm the kind of person who loves these kind of movies, except when they're completely trash like this one. This
That
movie
is
is
true.
terrible and has almost no redeeming qualities. The only thing I mildly enjoy was some of the cool looking scenes of destruction. Even the space stuff, which is normally an automatic plus for me, added nothing. Maybe it's missing the feel of space that good directors like Nolan are able to capture, or maybe it's because I didn't care about the story or the characters even a tiny bit. Is Nolan good in space? What space does Nolan do? Oh, he did, of course, he did Interstellar.
Yeah.
All right.
I also like the review a little lower down. No, that's not it. Where the fuck? I just had it. There's another review that was like a 7 out of 10. Here it is. So if you want to enjoy this movie, disable your brain for a few hours, and that. No, I don't. I
How
think
do
if
you
you had your
open with that and also say 7 out of 10?
yeah, like yes, it's a popcorn sci-fi, and sometimes it's good to watch these movies like these. Special effects are awesome, and it's spectacular. No, it will never get an Oscar for acting or original script or whatever. That's a deep blank in this movie. But hey, I had fun. My score 6.7.
All right.
My favorite one is a 1 out of 10 that's called Trash Fall. That's really good.
Yeah, yeah, it's not
Yeah.
good. It's probably a 3.
I'm I'm very happy that every review is like below a 5. Um Catwoman, Ed Warren, and Samuel Tarly save the world in this preposterous blockbuster.
I like that.
Yeah. Please take the camera away from Roland Emmerich.
I like the idea that Samuel Tully wasn't able to prevent Daenerys from destroying Game of Thrones, so he had to come save modern day from the moon.
From the moon. Fucking Christ! What a twist of a character. Yeah, just go see something else, please.
This film is totally stupid, but perhaps not stupid enough. All right.
It's like very dumb, but it somehow passes the SATs, and they're just like, oh, I guess it's okay. Well, with that out of the way, thank you all so much for listening.
If you accept that movies like this exist primarily for aesthetic pleasures of CGI enhanced disaster montages, enough said.
That's it.
I'm not willing to accept that.
No.
All right, well, I guess, yeah. I don't think I have any closing thoughts. Characters flat,
No.
plot nonsensical, space and time. Time survives for the most part.
Yeah, space not so much.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
Yeah.
I'd give it a I don't know.
I give it a theory of. Oh no. I got a better idea. I give it a one JFK assassination theory out of 1,400 because there's a lot of those.
I give it an Apollo 3 out of 10.
That's good. That's solid. All right. Have a good night, everybody.
Have a good one.